Hi, everyone. I am Erin. Welcome to FieldSnips. Welcome back to FieldSnips, where our mission is to explore careers and inspire futures one encounter at a time. And today's encounter is with the lovely Maura, and she's going to be talking to us about her career as a producer and a director in the entertainment and marketing industry. So, Maura, what do you do in the field of entertainment and marketing? It's a huge industry.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm a producer and director. And so people hear producer and it's very like ambiguous. Like it sounds cool. But so I'm a creative producer.
Okay.
Meaning that I will not only usually conceptualize, but I will also kind of be the glue from seeing a project from ideation through completion. What that looks like is not only coming up sometimes with the concept. If I wasn't directing the project, which I haven't done to everything, hiring the director, finding the person whose eye or their vision can bring the story to life. I oversee all the hiring across departments, or what I would consider department head. Okay. So I am I'm the conductor. Okay. I conduct the project. I also bring on our post-producing team. Sometimes I will post-produce, meaning like I am actually a part of that editing process, ensuring that, okay, from this script, from this treatment, now we have the footage. Now, how is this being edited, cut out, and delivered? So that's what I do on the producing side. Okay. And then the directing side, it's similar. It is now, usually with the producing, I'm talking a lot more, ensuring I'm meeting the client's needs. Okay. After that, the idea is baked. Now I have to figure out what is the visual way I'm going to tell that story. Okay, so that's when I come in as the director. So I'm assuming, I'm looking at the shots, the coloring, the location, and how I'm going to also be working with the talent. How do I want them to deliver these lines? I'm directing the look, the feel, and the talent.
That was a great way to explain how they are separate too, because like you said at the beginning, director and producer, sometimes we get those words.
And some people are both.
Yes,
some people are both. Some people are producer, director, writer, but you are wearing different hats. They are they're not the same job. And I even specify with producer, I'm a creative producer. There are some producers who your name gets attached. Like you become a producer because you have a really big name that's going to bring interest to the project. So sometimes you'll see executive produced by Keke Palmer may put her name on as executive producer. A lot of actors, if they are at a certain level, they usually will be able to be attached that way. There are producers who are financiers, who literally their only job is to go get money. There are producers who are called non-writing producers when you're in television and film. So somebody who is literally overseeing that hiring. There's what you call a line producer. A line producer is essentially like, for lack of better terms, the accountant. Okay. And the line producer ensures that everybody is being, hey, what are their wages? That the pie is being assigned accurately and efficiently. We have a budget. We have to stay within that budget. So that is where our line producer comes in. So there's so many types.
Okay, very good explanation. Y'all got a lot of options. If you want to go into producing, or if you want to be a director, you got options.
Absolutely.
So how did you get into this field? Like, were you always interested in it as a kid? Did you go to college for it? What is that journey?
Yeah, so I've been interested in entertainment as long as I can imagine. It started with doing like community plays. Okay. I decided I wanted to pursue TV, film, and entertainment probably around age 9. I recall because Akilah and the Bee came out.
Classic.
Yeah, and at the time, Keke Palmer and I had a mentor. We still share a mentor. And so I think she was the first idea that was like a thing that I could actually do and be. And so I actually started my career around 12 or 13 as a commercial actress. Okay. So while I was doing that, I was homeschooled. And in being homeschooled, I started a blog, and I also started a YouTube channel.
You were creative from jump.
I've been, this has been my whole life. And so, when I was in high school, I ran, I was a creative producer, or at that time it was called the creative director for a YouTube channel with the actor named Kofi Siriboe, which some people know from Queen Sugar, Girls Trip. And so Kofi and I literally,
kids shouldn't have watched those.
We were interviewing friends, up and coming artists. We interviewed Nipsey Hussle, Janae Aiko, Tiana Taylor, but this is like 2010, 2011. And so we're finding local people and making this YouTube channel. And I'm having to find where we're going to go film and making sure we have somebody to get the audio and the things. And so I didn't know it then that I was producing. We just needed to put it together. And so I was like, when I went to Spelman, I came in as an English major. I ended up later actually self-designing my own concentration in digital media marketing once I really kind of honed in. But when I realized producing was it for me, there was an opportunity around the time of Mike Brown's passing.
Okay.
And BET launched a digital series called What's at Stake. And they needed a campus, essentially liaison, to find students to interview, to help them pick locations on campus. And I became the on-campus producer.
Wow.
So that was the first time that I'm like, oh, I've been doing this work. Oh, this is what that's called? And so that was made me say like, as much as I enjoy acting, I kind of enjoyed the power of producing. Like I was like, wow. Like I enjoy kind of being in charge. And so that is really, it just kind of opened up the path from doing that project and starting with that blog and the YouTube. Then following after school, I started kind of getting clients. I started my own agency out of college, and I started offering digital content services to local businesses around the city.
Okay.
And that kind of.
That's amazing. And I was already going to ask you, like, what are some things that kids can do now if they're interested in it? But you've named and probably have more.
So many kids, especially if you guys have like TikToks and YouTubes, they're producing. They're actually, I'm usually like, I'm enamored by some of these children because
Me too.
you're producing, you're directing, you're editing, you're acting. Boy. You guys are doing so many roles in entertainment. And I commend you because I am not an editor. I am not a lighting person. And in this digital age where we have the devices, you are becoming your entire own content studio. And so most of them actually have all the skills to produce. What you were able to make with what you had is going to make room for the opportunity. I
like that, because the other question was going to be, what are some skills that people need to be successful in your industry? And you talked about the critical thinking, even going back to your degree in English and that you were writing blogs. That reading and writing is important.
It is fundamental. Reading and writing, although as a producer, I don't as much. I didn't use it as, I didn't add a slash. I do write almost every piece of content I touch too. When I am paid on a project, I am paid as a writer, I'm paid as a producer, and I'm paid as a director. Those are 3 different checks. And so I absolutely use my writing background. I do have a writing minor. So I actually did get a minor in writing, which I use daily. For producing, it is largely critical thinking. It is having a network. There is no body that is too small or too big. And even when I was in school, I remember wanting to film in like Jasmine's or at the time like Papa John's or
coffee shop.
It's a coffee shop and a pizza place. But like I knew all the workers. I knew the people who did housekeeping, groundskeeping. You need all those people. There is nobody. Every set has to be cleaned. Every set needs food. Every set needs the person who's going to screw in the light bulb. So you can't think these aren't important people because every project calls for something different. So I would say it's critical thinking. It's your network. It is problem solving, which I think is a large part of critical thinking. Like how are you, like, I have never, ever, 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 ever had a shoot that didn't have a problem. And you have to, like, literally, I've lost power for 9 hours on a day we only had 12. The generator's gone out. I've walked into places where they were like, well, we booked a studio space to shoot, and you guys can't use the elevator to bring up your equipment. Well, we're on the 9th floor. I had to get a new place in that moment, in that split second. That goes back to relationship. I had to call people. Does anybody have a place for this? So I would say for producing, those are the things there, and vision. But I think that's across all 3: writing, producing, directing, vision. It's the vision to know the right people. Sometimes it's the vision to see what does this project need. When you're thinking of art direction or art department, like what props are going to be needed here. I'm always calling on things I've seen, learned before to inspire and influence most of my creative decisions. I'll listen to a song and I'm like, oh, I wrote the script.
I love that. It just speaks to how inspiration can come from anything. You mentioned the song, you mentioned the people you know, and even for students, when you're thinking about building that network and you're like, well, I'm in school, and it comes from who your friends are, who you found a mentor when you were young, when you were 9 years old and you had a mentor, those relationships you have with your teachers, like anybody that you are around can be somebody who's in your network later. And believe me, your teachers and the adults in your life want to help you.
No, they do. So many of my so many of my jobs, so many of my opportunities have come directly from my teachers. And it is literally because I always told people what I was curious about and what I was interested in. So when they hear of something like, oh my God, I have a student. I worked on the show Black Lightning, and the show that no longer exists called Love Is. And that came from someone on campus knew me and recommended me. And that's kind of how I got that opportunity, which led me back to LA to do start my career, really. You never know where those connections are going to intersect, how you're going to be able to support one another.
And there's been a common theme with some of these interviews about the education aspect. And even though in some of the careers you've explored, you don't need a college degree to do it. And you even mentioned to be an actress, you don't need a college degree, but it says something that you got a lot of your network from and resources from being in college and being in spaces for people who wanted to do things like you, for opportunities that you probably wouldn't have heard of.
That's what it is absolutely the network. It is the ability to say I'm a student. Opportunities simply come because you are a student. People want to help you. When I no longer could say I'm in school.
Then I went to grad school, so I could say I'm a student again.
So you're a student again. You need to say you're a student again. So like my parents always reminded me of that. That like I could read a book and go learn anything anywhere. So I'm not going to demean the education aspect of it, but that is not where you need to go to only become educated. It is the network. It is being able to, it's part of the identity moment of being able to identify as a student. And it also is a period of time of exploration.
Yes. Another question for you about the future of your industry. We kind of talked about how there are kids right now who are able to get on TikTok and edit videos and do the producing of whatever content they're trying to film. Do you see more content creators being the producers that are called on for big movies? What do you see the future of being a producer?
Look at my
world.
In my bowl, my magic bowl.
Please tell us the future.
TV will cease as we know it. Wow. We are past the age of a celebrity in the same way. The influencer is the new celebrity. The content creator is the new celebrity. When I say TV will cease as we know it, it already is. I mean, the notion, we already went from like standard cable to now the streaming platforms. Most people don't realize television historically has been to just sell things, advertising. Brands pay for space for those commercial spaces, whatever. And so now brands are paying the creators. I used to not be able to come up with an idea and reach an audience. The internet has allowed me to do that. Our phones have allowed me that if you upload this, this can go everywhere. There's nobody, there's not a country, there's not a person that can't reach this that has the access. You don't need to have a studio. You don't need to be on television. I don't need to be in the box. Because you can be direct to your consumer. You can find exactly who needs what you have.
The last question I have for you is, what is one of the coolest projects you've worked on?
I'm going to do two. I'm going to do one that's my own project, and then I'm going to do one that I got to be a part of that's kind of someone else's. So one that I kind of led, producing, directing, writing. I did a commercial with Angel Reese. The Bayou Bar. Well, when she was the Bayou Barbie, I did her very last branded content commercial for Goldman Sachs, right before she drafted to the WNBA.
Wow.
And that was incredible. I got to work with her and her mom. And so I wrote the script, I made the vision, I hired an entire crew out in Louisiana. So that was probably, that was a good one. I'm a big WNBA fan. I'm a big Angel Reese fan. And then second was going to be, it's a show called, it's a digital series called FFing Vote with Yara Shahidi. It's a voting series that lived on Freeform. Yara is the star of Grownish, and most of my career has, for about 6 years, I led content for Yara. So I was her creative producer personally.
Amazing.
So pretty much anything that you've probably seen on her Instagram or it's surrounding Grownish and things like that, I've had a large part in over the last 6 years.
That's amazing. Y'all need to maybe follow Maura on social media too to see some other cool projects.
I do. I need to do better posting, but
this is only a snippet. She does a lot of things, and has had a lot of cool projects that she has not even scratched the surface of. So.
Thank you.
Do you have any other last words you want to say to the students? Maybe some advice?
Stay creative. Stay curious.
Stay curious. I love that.
You have everything that you need, especially if you guys have a phone or your parents have a phone. You have a studio. You are the studio. Tell the stories that are in your heart. tell stories that are true to you. The best thing that you can be is authentically you. That's how people really connect. When oftentimes when we think we're the only person, there's somebody out there that needed to know that there was somebody else like them or something else like that. So don't be afraid of your own story and your own experiences, because that is what makes you uniquely you.
Yes, thank you for those last words. Great words.
Absolutely.
And thank you all for tuning in to Field Snips. Until next time.